Siouxland, get ready. KCAU 9 SportsZone is coming your way with Sports Director Anthony Mitchell and Sports Anchor Alexander Huddleston. Your inside look at all the local sports action begins now.
We're the Akron Westfield Westerners! You're watching their Sports Zone, and highlights start now.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome into the KC9 Sports Zone Overtime Edition. I'm Anthony Mitchell. Alongside me, the one, the only Alexander Huddleston. Hey, man, you ready for the ride?
So ready. We have a ton in store for you guys tonight. Top matchups, big plays, and of course, our top stop player of the week. I'm never going to get that right.
But first, like we always do on this show, we're going to start off with our Sports Zone Game of the Week. It's a matchup here. The West Sioux Falcons putting its 3-0 record on the line against the Westerners of Akron Westfield, who come to the night at 2-1. This is the first time these two teams have met in quite a bit. The series tied up 5-5 dating back to 2008. The first meeting between the two teams since 2016. A dub on 4th and goal, denied by the Falcons. Great play there, and West Sioux is going to cash in shortly off that turnover. They hand it off to Braylon Lopez. Oh me, oh my, he's gone. He would make a few tacklers miss, racing down the sidelines all the way to the house for a nearly 70-yard TD, putting West Sioux up 7-0. Westerners struggle to get things moving on offense. That's where some moments shine, just like this huge scramble by Caleb Johnson, bringing his team to the red zone, but a holding call would bring them all the way back to the 9-yard line. Later in the second quarter, Blake Wiggins would roll left and connect with Gavin Garrettson to put the Falcons up 17-zip. This one, all West Sioux. They take the win in our Sports Zone Game of the Night, taking down Akron Westfield 38-0. A great win there by West Sioux, and what a way to start the night with two neighboring teams running that rivalry back. They have not played, like I said, in a very long time.
I have a feeling we'll be hearing Wiggins' name again later somehow.
Somehow, some way. Anyway, a lot more action, right?
But now, yes, more action to get to. Starting off with Sioux City North hosting Bishop Heelan. Crusaders coming off a double overtime heartbreaker last week at home. They'll have a chance to bounce back against a North squad coming off its first win. First score of the game was claimed by the Crusaders as Noah Conley lobs it to Case and Thomas all the way from around the 45-yard line, making it a 6-0 game. Crusaders continue their dominance with Thomas dancing around the North to score yet another touchdown. 21-0 Bishop Heelan. However, North High wasn't going down that easy, hitting their groove right before halftime, maybe a little too late, sagging Conley at the 15-yard line. Crusaders win that one, 35-20.
Nice win for Bishop Heelan. Let's keep it rolling. Ridgeview shut out Hinton last season. Blackhawks boast 742 rushing yards, fourth most in Class 1A. Defensive battle from both sides. Blackhawks begin to start things off in the second quarter. Cole Friesen, feeling himself, takes it for a scramble in the plus territory, but he's still going to roll after this. Secures another QB run. That gets into the Raptors' red zone. Hinton's drive continues. Friesen finding space. How about Logan Kempema, the big man, in the end zone? Blackhawks TD taking the 7-0 lead in the half, but Ridgeview storms back to win at 23-14.
Now, a handful of remaining undefeated teams in Siouxland is MOC Floyd Valley against Lamar, who's hungry to snap its two-game skid. Bulldogs the ball, quick handoff to Joaquin Hernandez for Lamar's first down. Dutch now with the ball. Carson Carmichael able to complete a pass to Hudson Kleinwissink. Just enough for a first down. They're not able to cash that one in, though. Lamar's back with the ball. Jamie Sitzman going down. Now check out this. Look at that catch. One-handed, on the move, and he's going to take it to the house. Bulldogs, Blake the Dutchman, 20-0.
Mr. Tyson Augustine with a great play we might see on Sports Zone Top 5. Speaking of unbeatens, MVO-COU 3-0. They're at Lawton Bronson. Eagles have allowed just 6 points per game in its last two wins. Rams up 14-10 in the second, lining up for the field goal through the uprights. It's good. Count it. Visitors take a 7-point advantage into halftime. LB chips in a field goal at 17-13. Rams rolling with a chance to boost the lead. Noah Drew with some other plans there. Eagles QB making plays on defense. Big momentum shifter. That puts the ball in Rams territory. Eagles continuing the drive on offense. We just talked about Drew on defense. How about Drew on offense? And best believe he drew this one up himself. Finds space, flips it to Cole Wagner. Wow, Eagles come back to shock MVO-COU 26-23.
Wow. Now, a quick trip down Highway 20. Woodbury Central is also 3-0, averaging over 40 points per game. IKM Manning has scored more than 40 twice this season. Home team on the opening drive. Jackson for sure. Scanning wants to go deep. His pass is picked off. Ben Ramsey there on the interception. Wolves Senior with a nice return to bring back this into Wildcat territory. Visitors can't cash it in, though. Wildcats just outside the red zone. Handoff to Abe McGill. He gets lost in the bunch and finds daylight. Touchdown. Wildcats with a little homecoming celebration at the end. Sideline was obviously pumped. after that one.
Strike a pose. How about you? Happy homecoming.
Well, Wolves look to answer big hit from the Cats. Brody Bremer recovers the fumble. Wildcats edge out IKM Manning 21-14.
Wildcats flexing that 4-0 start. Spirit Lake coming off its first win of the season. They've got undefeated Okoboji coming into town thanks to Midwest Sports Plus for the highlights. Scoreless game just seconds before half. Spirit Lake starts off the scoring with a 5-yard TD. Great play design, great grab. Puts them in front. Okoboji knocking on the door. And talk about play designs. We've got plenty in a coaching chess match here at the Lakes. Pioneers putting its foot on the gas here with a 24-yard scamper to tie it. And grab your popcorn for this one. 2 seconds remaining. Pioneers with a field goal chance to win it. The kick is up. The kick. Cha-ching. Okoboji stays unbeaten with a 10-7 victory.
Wow.
Wow is right. And what a start to our SportsZone overtime show. We have to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. Plenty of big matchups on the other side of the break.
And, of course, we'll bring home our top stop and player of the week awards. Some good candidates in our remaining games. So, stay in the zone.
We're the Crofton Warrior Cheerleaders. Don't change the channel. SportsZone will be right back.
Our Rays Mid-Bell Music Band of the Week coming from the Elk Point Jefferson Huskies pep band with a beautiful rendition of the national anthem to begin a fantastic Friday night. Welcome back to the Zone, overtime edition. The action just continuing to heat up around the area. What a first slate we had, and hey man, we're still going.
We're still going, including a Nebraska as the Bloomfield Bees take on neighboring Crofton. Crofton took the win last season, but a win for Bloomfield would match their win total from last year. The Bees would get on the board first. Bo Eisenhower gets it to Brock Jean now on this nifty option play. 2-point conversion good. Bloomfield goes up 8-0. Now, if you move on to the second quarter, Bloomfield's Eisenhower rolls to his right. He's going to throw it across his body. What an arm talent from that kid. But it's going to be picked off by Crofton's Jackson Lind. And that would lead to Tyson Jackson breaking a tackle at the line. And he's gone for the touchdown. 2-point conversion would be failed. That is the first score Bloomfield has given up this season. Talking about defense, Bloomfield led at the half 8-6, and the Bees go on to beat Crofton 30-18.
Let's stay in Nebraska. Homecoming for many schools, including Wynot. The Blue Devils aim to cap off the week in the win column. The opponent, Randolph. After a Randolph fumble, Wynot's Lane Himes takes the handoff, goes untouched for the first score of the game. 2-point conversion would be good. 8-zip, Blue Devils lead. Move ahead in the first quarter still. It's now 15-0 Wynot, and Wynot another play here. Blue Devils threatening again. Devin Brummer rolls to his right and finds Cotner Cook open in the end zone for the touchdown. Let him cook. That would make it 22-0 Wynot. They roll on to win it 67-6.
Yeah, why not? Well, Guardian Angels Central Catholic scored a season-high 40 points in its win last week. The Child will take on a Homer Knight squad aiming for its first win on Military and First Responders Night. The Blue Jays' Joseph Eames makes it to the first move, getting past the goal line for a 4-yard touchdown, making it 6-0. Now, 40 seconds left in the first quarter, GAC's Isaac Gunther runs it for a 4-yard touchdown, making it 12-0 Central Catholic. The Knights try to move it up the field with less than a minute left in the half, but they fall short, throwing an interception to Blue Jays' Ryan Anderson. Homer falls short in the end, losing to GACC 14-20.
Let's keep it going here to the All Nations League. Winnebago 3-0, allowing just 6 points all season. On the other side, 2-1 Maipia Luda. Home team marching down the field. Darius Flemister takes the handoff, bounces right. Somehow, someway, finds the gap. He is gone. 25-yard touchdown. They tack on the 2-point try to go up 8-zip. Winnebago keeps it going later in the first quarter. And we talk about some trickery, trick or treat a little early here for Winnebago. How about a double pass? Elijah Whitebear up to the Winnebago defender. Raiden Decora reels it in. Winnebago takes it down to the 5-yard line. They cash in just a couple plays later. Winnebago stays on beat in a big win, 55-22.
Now, South Dakota Vermilion aims to take down Madison for the first time since 2022. Bulldogs into the night, outscoring its opponents 99-20 through 3 games. Third quarter, Bulldogs up 27-7, and Madison knocking out the door of the end zone. Third down, Henry Vianoff scouting the field, hits his brother Shane Vianoff, who gives the stiff arm and trots into the touchdown. Tanagers trying to mount a comeback. They go through the air. Hayden Christopherson throws it up to Cale Cleveland. He has green gas in front of him. and it's going to be a gain of 51 yards. Jump ahead to Vermilion's next possession. Christopherson babbles the snap, but regaining control and finds Elijah Lara coming across the field, gets the touchdown. But not enough time for the Tanagers as the Bulldogs take home the win, 34-15.
Let's keep it rolling here. Oak Point Jefferson's ground game has averaged over 400 yards per game. Can they run to a 4-0 start at home against Baltic? Well, let's head to the highlights. First quarter, after an INT to put the Huskies near the end zone, Bo Schmitz says reservations for 6. 17 yards, touchdown, Huskies. Baltic looking for a response, but Gavin Scottvold's pass over his receiver and into the hands of Anthony Tatra. Something about these Anthonys on SportsZone overtime. Okay. He makes the house call for the pick 6. Defense for the Huskies showing up big time. Later in the quarter, it's Schmitz again, getting pushed in from his own lineman for another Husky score. Oops, he did it again. EPJ goes on to take it 56-6.
Dakota Valley and Tri-Valley Battle of the Valleys has been decided by one possession in the last 2 matchups. Will this one follow suit? Well, the Panthers visit the Mustangs in the opening minutes. The Mustangs, Phil Brody dive big, and the senior shows off the speed as he races down the sideline to the house. And for a big man, that's pretty fast. That's going to be a touchdown, and they lead 8-0. Later in the quarter, dive big catches the pass and then shows off some moves. Runs right and is nearly brought down, but he stays on his feet. That is nifty. Then launches towards the end zone, but he's just going to come short after a crazy play. Mustangs in great field position. Tri-Valley defeats DV 20-7.
Now let's take a look at some scores from around the area here. Starting off in Iowa, Unity Christian, a big win over Cherokee, 33-6. West Lyon, a big win over Alta Aurelia, 70-6. West Lyon came into the matchup not allowing a point. That was their first point allowed in that win there. Nebraska action here. Wisner Pilker, the Gators can go. A big win over Wakefield, 64-14, while Waza Osman takes down Boyd County, 42-6. Welcome back to the Zone Overtime Edition. I think we've had a lot of fun. And obviously at this point, like we always do, it's time to hand out our awards. What do we have?
Yes. Well, Player of the Week is first. So this week's Player of the Week is West Sioux quarterback Blake Wiggins after an outstanding performance at Akron Westfield. Wiggins threw for 135 yards and 3 touchdowns, but he also carried himself in for 96 yards and another touchdown. Congrats to Blake.
A big win there, our SportsZone game of the week. And how about our top stop of the night coming from another game in Iowa? Let's check it out here. It's the Woodbury Central Wildcats coming up with a huge hit. The ball pops out, and the Wildcats recover. One of plenty big hits and big plays for the Wildcats defense, and it's 21-14 win over IKM Manning.
Next weekend, but Nebraska football sits at 3-0 for the second consecutive season following its 59-7 victory over Houston Christian on Saturday, logging the program's 9th consecutive non-conference win. The Huskers crossed the 50-point mark for the second game in a row, becoming the first Nebraska team to accomplish the feat since 2007. Nebraska was having its way on offense while limiting the Huskies to 67 passing yards total, marking the 3rd time Nebraska has held 3 opponents in a row to under 100 passing yards since 1990.
Wow.
I wouldn't even lie for that. A strong start has the Huskers bunch feeling confident as they build toward Big Ten play.
We were really, really big on just, building our family and meshing close together. And blocking out any outside noise. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you have family, you have friends that watch the games and, watch videos or whatever mean. They have their opinions on what's going on. But what's most important is what's going on between the walls of the facility and what's going on between the lines of the practice field. And I think that, by taking that mindset of really focusing on yourself and your teammates, you don't get caught up in who it is that you're playing against or who they have or whatever it may be that's coming into the stadium or that you're going into play. You just worry about, who it is that you're playing for that's next to you.
And Nebraska begins conference play on Saturday versus Michigan at 2:30 p.m.
And we talk about big wins. Why not keep it rolling? The South Dakota Coyotes tallied its first win of the season. And, of course, that's the first win in the Travis Johansson era and a 24-17 overtime victory over Northern Colorado in the Dakota Dome this past Saturday, giving Johansson his first win as the Coyotes head coach. South Dakota tallied that win in a big way, too, giving Johansson not only his first win, but how about this man right here, the FCS National Player Offensive Player of the Week, L.J. Phillips Jr. A historic game for the running back, making his first career start, and what a way to make your presence felt in V-Town. 301 rushing yards led the way for a USD squad that was excited to get in the win column, but also has its sights set on what's next.
I think, number one, good to get a win. getting our team some positive reinforcement for the way they're working was good to see. Really proud of the way we were resilient and battled through that game, both defensively on the goal line and our ability to stick with it in the run game and get some pretty good performances out of our O-line. And obviously, LJ Phillips, excited for a week, excited for our players to improve one more week, and we've got to have our stuff together versus a good Drake team.
South Dakota will host Drake on Saturday for a 1 p.m. kickoff. The Coyotes have won the last 4 meetings against the Bulldogs in Vermilion.
Now, the South Dakota Coyotes tallied its first win of the season, 24-17 against Northern Colorado on Saturday. But
we're going to keep it going with Briarcliff, the Chargers. Yes. Alex, let's talk about the Chargers.
Let's
take
the
highlights
Chargers,
here.
Actually, yeah. Chargers quickly turned the page from its Week 2 loss to Morningside, thanks to an impressive defensive performance from Briarcliff's unit. BCU held the Broncos to just 84 passing yards and forced 2 turnovers, including Dayton Harrell's pick to preserve the lead with seconds remaining. Head coach Shane Ladage spoke on how the Chargers have executed complementary football after the win on Saturday.
I'm happy, right? It wasn't pretty. You know, we kind of flipped the script. We've been playing really well offensively and not playing that great defensively, but today the defense really showed up and offense made just enough plays. So end of the day, where we're at, we'll take any win we can get. And I'm proud of the grit and toughness of our guys. You know, battle the heat, battle the tough opponent, and 1-0 feels good no matter what.
Briarcliff will be on the search for a 3-1 start tomorrow night against Mount Marty at 6 p.m. And Sioux City Morningside will host Midland at 1. Northwestern looks to rebound from its loss against Dakota Wesleyan tomorrow at 1. Outside of the GPAC, Wayne State visits unbeaten MSU Moorhead for a noon kickoff. Check back for your local college football roundup tomorrow on KCU 9 Sports.
And just you brought up a couple good points there. Coach Ledehy and company obviously coming off that big win. Northwestern, they were upset last week. Actually, you were at that game to Mount Marty. That was Mount Marty's first ever ranked win as a program. Now they're receiving votes in that NAIA poll. They have
That's awesome.
Pretty important game to come out here against Briarcliff. Northwestern obviously looking to get back in the win column. Morningside obviously going to defend its home turf with that new track around it. So a lot of Saturday games. Of course, Iowa took care of business tonight. Nebraska, Big Ten opener at home against Michigan. That's certainly going to be a test. Bryce Underwood, that quarterback. I mean, just college football fans in general, you know who that guy is. I mean, he's just jumped onto the scene. He's been unreal.
Yes.
Bryce Underwood. And now kind of circling back to Siouxland here, you know, a great Friday night, a great SportsZone overtime. I mean, did you have like what was your best moment from tonight?
Best moment tonight? I mean, it was the memories we made in the newsroom. No, I mean, it was honestly, the long run came right at me while I'm shooting it. It was great. That was my best moment personally. It was pretty fun.
A lot of great highlights too. Yes. We talked about Woodbury Central. They're still unbeaten. They've been to the Unidome the last couple of years. This team looks geared to potentially do that. There's some other teams. Bishop Heelan picking up that big win. Case and Thomas, another monster game. The future Hawkeye had a receiving touchdown, had a rushing touchdown. Noah Conley, we talked about actually 2 weeks ago or last week, our SportsZone game of the week, his efficiency numbers, and they actually at that point leading into that East game did not have a passing touchdown all season, but they proved to show that they can do it, and a great win for Coach LaFleur and company, and now that turns the page for Saturday. The GPAC, our local teams, Wayne State, Coach Masters and company down in Wayne, America, looking to get back in that win column. We'll have those highlights with you tomorrow night.
Yes, tomorrow night at 10?
That's right.
Yeah, why am I spacing? Well, I mean, I think that's good enough for me, honestly.
That's good enough for me.
That's good enough for me.
Thanks again for tuning in for our entire crew. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time in The Zone.